Welcome back, everybody. Today's video is going to be the hopefully last meta update for 7.32D. So today we're going to be doing that in the form of a carry hero tier list. But first, I want to talk about exactly what has changed even though the patch has been relatively the same for quite a while. So what's changed is that Wraith Pact after TI got nerfed. And what's happened recently is that everybody is buying Greaves. Your mom's buying Greaves, my mom's buying Greaves, your offlaner's buying Greaves, and if your offlaner ain't buying Greaves, a support's buying Greaves. It's just the patch of Guardian Greaves. So Guardian Greaves is consistent sustain throughout fights. So it helps long, drawn-out fights for the side or both sides, but also it supplies armor when you or your ally is at low HP. Because it basically sustains you over time and it kind of prevents people from finishing you off, it's drastically changed the carry hero pool because suddenly the sustain is no longer coming from the Wraith Pact lifesteal aura and it's only going to the carries. The sustain is now going to everybody and it's becoming difficult to finish people off. So heroes that have damage issues, whether it's because they poke you down like illusion heroes or whether or not it's because they chip you down over time like a ranged hero like Sniper, these heroes have fallen off significantly. Spoiler alert. So all the best heroes in Dota right now for the carry role are ones that don't particularly mind playing against Guardian Greaves, because that's what you'll see if the offlaner's trying to stay up with the meta at all. And I would like to note that if your offlaners at your bracket are not buying Greaves at all, that these changes in tiers might not actually apply to you compared to my last carry hero tier list. We're going to go ahead and get right into the tier list because it's short and sweet. The F and D tier are the exact same as they were in our previous carry update. None of these heroes gained prominence. We're seeing PA, Troll, Gyro, Luna, Arc Warden, Lone Druid, Alchemist, and TA. Nothing's changed about them. They're still down there. I highly recommend not picking them unless you just love these heroes and you enjoy playing them. But the big changes coming in when we look at the C tier is I have dropped Sniper all the way to the top of C tier. This hero feels very difficult to win with because of the nature of the fact that he operates on threatening you enough that you can't get close to him. And what issue does Sniper have as the game progresses is positioning in tandem with damage output. Like he needs enough damage that his positioning matters. So with the Guardian Greaves becoming the new way to sustain rather than the Wraith Pact, he doesn't really benefit from the Greaves nearly as much as he would the Wraith Pact. And the opponent is also not needing to hit him in order to sustain through the headshot procs, the shrapnel over time, etc. So a lot of these other heroes that you're still seeing in the C tier are either the somewhat out of meta carries that would probably work if you specialize in them, especially heroes like Riki at the lower MMR brackets. He's predominantly played as support in my bracket. But all these like PLs, Medusas, they're like the lesser versions of their counterparts, meaning PL's one of the weaker illusion heroes, Medusa's one of the weaker flash farming ranged heroes. We're going to get to that. So in B tier, right now, I want to show the top 5 heroes that I have in B tier. And these 5 heroes are Terrorblade, Void, Bloodseeker, Monkey King, and Pudge. And what's so good about these characters, and I've elevated most of their stocks a little bit higher, is that they don't run out of damage. These heroes have a way to sustain themselves. They don't mind if the fight goes a little bit longer. You have Faceless Void with the Time Walk, Terrorblade with the Sunder, Monkey King overall utilizing Jingu and mobility, Pudge reducing the heal of the opponents with Ags, and then Bloodseeker, even though he doesn't necessarily love long fights, he is really good at chewing through you and not allowing you to live because being low HP and like narrowly escaping with the Guardian Greaves doesn't particularly work against him. So another thing to note in this B tier is I have dropped Naga all the way from S to B. And this is because Naga's entire kit, whether it's the Radiance build or whether or not it's the Manta Orchid build, is countered by Greaves. You're not only able to save yourself as an offlaner with the item you're already buying, but you're also keeping your teammates alive by providing them that extra armor that negates the effect of Riptide. And if you've played a lot of Naga, you would know she suffers from damage issues. Being able to finish targets off is a key weakness that she has as the game progresses. And now the offlaners just have this item. And so I had Spectre in D tier. Then I apologized and put her at the top of B tier. But Spectre's number one issue is that she doesn't like when the opponent is able to 5-man, stick together, survive through Haunt, and then win the fight afterwards. This whole Greaves meta has actually made Spectre significantly worse because it promotes 5-manning, it promotes this whole ball unkillable aspect of Dota, but it's also a way to purge her dagger. So all these offlaners are hard for you to kill, and I've noticed as Spectre that any supports that can purge, like Omni Knight, Abaddon, Oracle, these heroes are generally very annoying for Spectre because she heavily relies on Spectral Dagger, which is now dispellable. So I then put her up to like the top of B tier, maybe even A tier, and now I have her in the middle to low B tier because I think she's really good if the opponent does not have Greaves and does not have Dispels, but she's incredibly underwhelming otherwise. Moving on to our A tier. These are the heroes that I thought were already pretty good that have dodged the Greaves meta indirect nerf. So we're looking at Drow, we're looking at Ursa, and we're looking at Slark. So the difference between Drow and Sniper, for instance, is Drow has reduction of heal through frost arrows, but she also hits hard. If you don't kill Drow, she will kill you. There's no such thing as like a long drawn out fight with Drow. If she's allowed to hit you from range, she's just going to straight up kill you. But I think as a range carry, she's almost as good as they get. Spoiler alert. But I think she's still very strong, even despite the fact that she did benefit from the Wraithpact aura herself and was able to kill the Wraithpact. She's not nearly as inhibited by the Greaves as other heroes. And then when you think about the way Greaves works that we've already talked about, Ursa and Slark just couldn't give two shits if they have to hit you extra times. They don't have issues finishing you off. These heroes, Slark's case, feasts on hitting you more, and Ursa, as he hits you, kills you faster. So I really like Slark and Ursa because not only do they not care about the Greaves, they punish these melee and ranged offlaners that have no stuns. Heroes that are wanting to buy these Greaves do not want a Slark and Ursa either in their face in the lane if they're a melee hero, or up in their face later on in the game if they're a ranged hero like Death Prophet, for instance. I think Monkey King is so high in B tier because he punishes the melee heroes really hard in lane, but if he doesn't have a strong lane, then he's quite underwhelming in comparison to Ursa and Slark. So that's why he's B, while I have Ursa and Slark as A, because their laning stages are a bit more reliable, and they will still have a decent game if their lanes aren't fantastic. Last but not least, the S tier. The reason why these two heroes are S tier, you guys already know about Lina. Damage output off the freaking charts. You go for the Maelstrom into bots, BKBs, Shadowblade for kills, Gleipnir for setting up your own stun. What I'm realizing about Dota right now is that Gleipnir feels like a broken item. It just feels like it does too much, but most heroes can't buy it because for how expensive it is, they'll either lack survivability, mobility, damage output. And what these two heroes do is they farm fast, they lane strong, and then they can buy a relatively early Gleipnir. So these heroes give their team early map momentum. Lina because she wins most of her lanes, Nature's Prophet because he is a strong laner, but he also takes early towers, and then they build Maelstrom into Gleipnir at some point, and it just feels way too strong right now. These heroes' tempo just feels out of control. Now, I need to be warning you guys that if you're playing Nature's Prophet carry, I cannot control whether or not your teammates rage at you. I cannot control whether or not they go, that's not a normal carry hero. But I assure you right now, Nature's Prophet is at one of his strongest iterations that he's ever been. And it just feels like, if played well, he is just too much momentum, too much tempo to handle on the map because he always supplies that +1. The most important thing is your team has playmaking potential from your other two lanes, not farming heavy heroes, because Nature's Prophet relies on his teammates to set up the plays, and then he helps be the +1 to finish them off. So that's it for today's meta update. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Please make it so this update video becomes antiquated as quickly as possible so we have a new patch. Thank you, Gavin. See you guys.